It doesn't go any higher, but there's also like a hole blown in the top of this housing.
Coming up. So what has to be done before we sail out of here, no matter what the weather?
Cut the engine, pull the sails.
Even if it takes you a month to get there, and you almost die. That's what you out here for.
This is Joel. Together with Tony and Jared, he gave up everything to buy a boat and go on the adventure of a lifetime. But after a death-defying sail to Cuba, he returned to Key West and found himself alone.
Wish me luck on this adventure. When Michael finished school, I asked her to sail with me to the Bahamas. 4 months later, we made it to the Dominican Republic. Broke and in love.
Bums on a Boat is a true story about facing fear, finding adventure, and falling in love. Each tale is brought to you by our patrons and viewers. Subscribe and click the bell to get notified about weekly premieres and visit our website to learn more. Thank you for watching.
These are the tales of Boab.
We just heard over the radio there's a boat coming in that might be in a little bit of distress.
The little red sailboat, 28-footer, that was the vessel that was calling. Yeah, everything went well. They just sailed from Fort Myers, Florida to here, and they're in a position that we've seen quite a few people in. It's really difficult. They're from a different country and their papers run out and the boat wasn't completely ready to go, but they had to leave. So they figured they would just send it and try to do the rest of the work here in Luperon. Had some difficulties, but they handled it well. We just let them in and handed them a mooring ball. They had no radar, no, their engine, their throttle must have broke because he only had full throttle or nothing. So he was really having trouble trying to enter the harbor with that situation. You know, no radar, plus the engine was a little dicey. But I just went out with a Navionics on my phone, handed him that, and just kind of held onto his boat, and everything worked out great. Pretty exciting morning. You excited?
To start sailing again? Yeah. Joel was just saying, it just goes crazy when you're out there, no matter how ready your boat is. So I guess I'm ready for a little excitement.
Yeah, that's what I was telling Michael. That was really exciting, just that little whatever was happening there with the dinghy. I got a couple cuts on my arm and it was just happening so fast and it was actually kind of exciting.
In the meantime, we got a little lunch happening. Some pulled pork, rice, and sprouts. Sprouts
are a dream of the bums on a boat, have always been, and we've kind of, you know, it's been 4 years, we haven't really been sprout kings, but our sister-in-law Maria got us these trays, which changed the game, because what we were doing is carrying around dirt, tons of dirt in bags, and it just didn't seem like the way to go for our tiny boat. But it worked for a while, and now we have these awesome trays.
Well, the reason you had dirt was because you read a book where some guy said that he had more success sprouting in dirt than doing it in jars, but I have a feeling he was doing it at a much colder climate, and our sprouts just kept rotting in the dirt.
So what are those there?
These are Epic trays, and I'm rinsing them like 3 times a day. I leave them out at night, but during the day I put them in the fridge.
Y'all ready?
Going up to the top for my first time. It doesn't go any higher. But there's also like a hole blown in the top of this housing.
Really?
Yeah. I don't see how these lights that I have are gonna work.
Really?
No.
Film it so we know.
Okay.
So they're not the right fitting, huh? Okay, go ahead. Okay. All right, hang on. Okay, give me the on. Okay. Nothing? Off? Okay, I switched it around, tried the polarized, try it again. Okay, nothing. Now let's just show everybody. These are the exact same connections here. Coming up? Who out there knows about this Gorilla Tape? If you don't, it's absolutely fantastic for boat life. Right now, we're just going to put this Gorilla Tape over the top of this housing. It burned a hole because we did something stupid about 2 years ago when we left the boat here. What we did is we left the anchor light on, thinking it would help because the solar was gonna charge the batteries and the anchor light was gonna help to draw them down at night so that they wouldn't overcharge. Plus we wanted people to see us, but we had an incandescent bulb. So what happened was it, you know, burned a hole through our housing and then it eventually blew up. So that was stupid. We left an anchor light on for like 2 months. So don't do that. For some reason, the LED bulbs are not working in here. They're the same fitting. We're trying them all different ways because we've heard polarity has to be correct and they're a little iffy, but they're just not working. So for now, because we're ready to get sailing to Puerto Rico, we're gonna have an anchor light. It's gonna draw the batteries down a little bit, but it's gonna do the job for now. We're in that mode where it's just time to go, so we're gonna make things work. Michael, will you give us a test? Yep. And so really the main thing is that people can see this 360, so the top is covered, but at night, this is gonna make us seen, so that's gonna work. All right, we got power, you could cut it. It's not a perfect job by any means, but it is a functional job and it's gonna get us to Puerto Rico. And our neighbors that had a little bit of trouble getting in, he's awesome. They're both awesome, and they just checked in right now, and they got the Navy coming over. They have a swing keel, and it started leaking, it broke, and water was coming in. So they managed to put 5200 around it and seal it up, and that was in Great Anagua, which is like, you know, 70 miles away from here. And then they motored all the way here. Then their motor was giving them issues. So they're pretty salty. They seemed really relaxed coming in and really cool couple. But I think it's time to get down now. You on?
Yeah.
Turn it off?
Can you tell?
It's a little hard in the daytime.
Sure.
You might not be able to tell, but now we have a steaming light as well. Woo! We have running lights, steaming light, anchor light. All of our lights are working. That's a good thing. So what has to be done before we sail out of here? Well, we took a note out of Uma, Delos, all the big names seem to do the sticky note thing, or they did at some point. So anchor light, steaming light, gone. We just completed that project. So this is all that needs to be done here. Sorry, Michael. Until we were able to sail out of here. A lot of these are actually pretty small jobs, so we're just gonna be ripping these sticky notes off one by one as quickly as we can. We still have to check out, obviously. And the most important thing is the weather. All right, we're taking more sticky notes down as we speak. Michael.
Here's our bimini. We brought it in here to Flacco, the canvas maker. I think he does a bunch of just anything sewing here in town. And we just asked him to repair it. It's really old. We'll need to get a new one eventually because it leaks like crazy. But yeah, it's been a week or less and it looks like he's fixed it. It had a big tear here. And that looks really good. Stitched up. So we'll have to take it to our boat to see, make sure it fits, but that was great.
Again, this was like a quick fix. It's gonna protect us from the sun. It's not 100% water resistant, but we're gonna get some spray and this is gonna work for now. Okay, that costed $1,800, which is about $35 for all of his work. He cut up some old canvas that we had and used it to patch it up. And we're gonna go test it out, but
Yeah.
35 bucks.
Totally worth it.
That'll play. Those are our new friends that came in on the little red sailboat. We're kind of showing them around. Install field pump, install gimbal stove, fix toilet, assemble ground tackle, get diesel, get provisions, charge fridge, inspect steering, check prop shaft. Bimini. Oh yeah, that's right. We took that sticky note off because it worked. Flacco killed it. It's perfect. It's gonna get us to Puerto Rico. There's a couple of tiny little holes still, so it's not gonna be 100% waterproof. Little things like that, but we're gonna be protected from the sun, and that's the main thing when you're sailing, because when I get really hot, it really makes me get seasick.
Yeah, we're
Even quicker.
never going to be protected from the water because we don't have a Dodger and we're going into the wind, so we're going to get wet for sure. The Bimini, even if it was perfect and new, it wouldn't help with that. We just need a little sun protection.
Now let's talk about the weather.
We've been watching the weather for quite some time now, and it's really not in our favor so far. We're following the advice of Bruce Van Zandt, the author of Passages South, or The Gentleman's Guide to Passages South, the Thornless Path to Windward. He's the authority, basically, for cruising from Florida to South America, essentially, where you're going the wrong way, you're going upwind, you're going into the current, and it's pretty hairy. So he has a strategy, especially for the north coast of the DR, for going at night when you get the lee breeze off of the land and you just stay tucked in real close to the shore and you motor sail at night the whole way, resting during the afternoon when the trade winds kick up. So that's what we've been looking for, is low swell, 3 to 5 foot swell, and 10 to 15 knots of southeast wind. I've been reading Bruce's book. I didn't know he actually had a website as well. Our friend Dana Lee on Caterpillar, they actually are already in Puerto Rico, so we're trying to catch up with those guys soon. She told me about his website. It's called thornlesspath.com, and he has links to all the weather pages for the National Weather Service offshore report that have been our main source of information. So, I can show you. If you pull up the weather links tab on Bruce's website, then you've got all of these sections that you'll be traversing on this thorny path. And right now we're in the 70 West through Puerto Rico Trench. And that is this National Weather Service page. So we just go and look for tonight. Winds 10 to 15, seas 4 to 6. North winds, not ideal because it's going to bring a lot of swell. And the rest of the week, winds are 20 to 25 knots, seas 7 to 10 feet. So that's just no bueno. We're going to have to keep looking and waiting.
This is the island of Hispaniola, and this is the south side, this is the north side, and here we are up here on the north side. So the reason why we don't like the northeast winds is because the waves are going to be coming from a long way off, and there's really no land that's breaking them up. So they get to build and get really big. So we're looking for the southeast wind, and that's going to basically make a lot smaller waves for us that we have to go dead into. So that would be why we're not liking the northeast direction.
We've also been using Predict Wind as another source. It's kind of fun to watch the weather in motion as it goes through the week. So this is a cool way to get your weather as well. We have a really basic subscription, so it doesn't do weather routing. But you can get the forecast, you can get 7 days in advance, and you can get a sense for what's happening or what's forecasted to happen in real time. So that's kind of fun. And as you can see, it's looking pretty dicey out there right now. So we're just gonna hang tight until this passes and everything calms down a little bit.
I'd like to know your thoughts. Some of you maybe have actually done this crossing. Did you do Bruce Van Zandt's method? Did you just cowboy it your own way and, be a real sailor and just go way out there and tack your way into it? We were on the fence about whether we should go the Bruce Van Zandt method or not. And the deciding factor for us is that we have had probably 10 friends that we met that left us in the dust here in Luperon in the last 2.5 years. And so we've got to sit back and watch the windows that they took, and then we got to hear how it went for them. And we've compiled all of those stories together, and it gives us, it makes us just want to do the Bruce Van Sant method. Now, I am going to say, if we're sitting here waiting for too long, I might get a little bit crazy and go for it. We have why don't you tell them about our new friend we made?
Yeah, our new friend, Gary. Gary, if you're watching this, hi and thank you. He sent us weather routing plans using the specific polars for our boat, which is representing how our boat performs under given angles and velocities of wind. And he was able to plug that information into a program after downloading weather files and inputting those into the program to give us waypoints for how we might cut the engine and tack our way all the way to Puerto Rico, which...
That's a racer's method.
Yeah, sounds pretty crazy, but I know it's definitely doable.
We can do that.
We're just a little bit, I don't know. Personally, I'm intimidated by this crossing because we're going into current, we're going into wind, and the idea of making it easy and comfortable is pretty appealing.
Right. And because we've seen friends of ours that have made it easy and comfortable, and we're still pretty early in our sailing experience, so...
We have little experience, so that also factors in.
Plus, the boys and I did some pretty crazy sailing at first because we had that mentality just go out.
Yeah, and then 2/3 of the crew left the boat because they were like, okay, that was fun, but I'm done. And I want to do this for a long time, so I don't want to scare the crap out of myself.
I just want to go on the record and say, the friends of ours that did not follow Bruce Van Sant, they made it. All of them made it. Everybody made it, but they had a rough time.
Quick question for you. Did more of our friends follow Van Zant's advice or not?
I would say it was like 50-50.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like some of our friends, they're Naughty Nook Sailing, Australians. They're a really cool couple.
Beef and Jana.
They just had a kid, and they had the most epic weather window we've ever seen, and they just went straight to Puerto Rico. Most people have to kind of cut it up, go maybe to Samana or even Sosua and then Samana, maybe make it a couple of days. They got such a good window. They motored all the way to Puerto Rico. They kind of motor sailed and just tacked one big tack way out to the north and then just right back in and barely beat some squalls. But that wasn't necessarily Bruce Van Sant.
No, but they had an incredible weather window.
Yeah, like 1 to 2 foot seas.
5 days of calm.
5 days of no wind. It was pretty crazy. So we'll see what we get, what we catch.
What we get?
Yeah, and let us know, what do you guys think about this whole weather thing? Are you true blue sailors? Do you think you should just go in anything? Just go. We should be leaving tomorrow, no matter what the weather.
Cut the engine, pull the sails,
reef the main, and go for it. Right? Even if it takes you a month to get there, and you almost die. That's what you out here for. I don't know. We might get impatient and go that way. We'll see.
Stay tuned.
Let's go, baby!